every weekend, there's always a lot of things happening. We heard this weekend that there was three big, I think, pretty important news that's helping move Tesla forward. We're on the brink of Robotaxi. Texas Department of Transportation, their automated vehicle deployment site is now listing Tesla as operating a rideshare service, actively testing in not just in Austin, but the Austin metro area. You got NHTSA. They just advanced a new framework, finally cleared the way for cars, vehicles like the Cybercab, which is self-driving cars without any driver controls. And I think in a big surprise, China, they issued guidance this weekend to allow vehicle data sharing. So this allows companies like Tesla to give them exactly what they're allowed to share outside of just keeping it in data centers in Shanghai. At the same time, we're getting report after report after report all about Robotaxi and comparing Waymo to Tesla. First, you had this independent group called OBI. Just blow your mind away how much Uber and Waymo charges $40 per mile if it's 1 mile. It's crazy. You got the Bloomberg intelligence report that just dropped as well, basically saying what we've been saying for a while: Tesla is going to just wipe everybody off the map if things turn out the way they do. So, Alexander, you had a post, I don't know, maybe now 2 weeks ago. And while all this negative things that was happening, you said, actually, there's a lot of milestones or catalysts you expect to happen this month. What was the result of your poll?
Oh, I don't even remember what the result of the poll was, but I think most of them went for 3 events in the next coming weeks, which in my view is correct. Obviously, then we had the launch of the first Robotaxi, and now potentially in a week or less than a week on the 22nd, opening it up to more and making it hailable. And we do still expect a more affordable vehicle. And I have the feeling there's, it's heating up from all the sides we hear stuff. I mean, I have nothing concrete, but I hear a lot. And then the third point is obviously the proxy that will have a new compensation plan or a way to remunerate Elon. You all know that I think it's going to be Class B shares with more voting power. And so all this is going to be in a relatively short period of time. And this has been brewing. If we just take the third point, on which I'm more competent to speak than on the other two, but this has been brewing for years to finally come to, a new milestone, a new big step in Tesla's history. And it's all happening this summer. It's a beautiful thing to watch. I mean, I just said, it's funny because we're just driving home. I try to be on time for this call. Thinking that the stock is at 315 is just unbelievable. Nobody gets it. The people out there don't get it, and you just sit there and think, my gosh, the day it will finally reflect the whole potential this company and this stock has, where will it go? It's crazy times ahead of us.
Mm-hmm. Nobody gets it, but these reports are dropping left, right, and center. Omar, did you have thoughts? You can choose which report you want to talk about. There's the Bloomberg intelligence report that came out this morning, the OB report that came out this weekend. Even Gene Munster, even he had his own Robotaxi report now coming out. Any of those things move you? Anything, any data point that you there thought was true or right?
Yeah, I thought those were great reports. I mean, I think the general public maybe doesn't get it yet, but the people who are looking at it, like Bloomberg, they are seeing the reality when they start to do their analysis of it. And, in particular, the cost of Tesla's solution versus Waymo's solution, the safety that they're seeing in their fleet compared to others. I think it kind of speaks for itself. So they're definitely gearing up to launch something, and I think it's going to be really exciting to see that happen.
And what's your thoughts on the Austin Metro versus Austin? It's yes, it's cool, but it doesn't mean anything. They're still also going to just do, small number of cars at the point, right?
Well, that was definitely interesting on the website for the city of Austin that it mentioned Austin Metro rather than Austin for the service area, whereas Waymo just says Austin. Now, I don't know how much to read into that. Whether that doesn't really tell us exactly what the service area is going to be. But I think if they are going to launch in the next week or so, we're going to find out what the service area is pretty soon. So it may be smaller than Waymo's initially. It may be around the same size. Maybe it's even going to be a little bigger, going to some cities outside of Austin. But with 10 cars, I think they're probably going to keep it pretty limited to Austin at first. But I think what that Austin Metro in the regulatory website really says is they plan to expand this fast, not just within the city of Austin, but really to all the surrounding areas and suburbs as well.
Yeah, gonna go out fast. So Larry, what's your thoughts on the NHTSA announcement? That came out of the blue when everybody was expecting that there was this political, backlash. In fact, it's the opposite. NHTSA's actually moving forward with a framework. They're gonna make it faster. They said decisions will be made, exemption requests made within months rather than years. That's their kind of promise and their goal. Self-driving cars without driver controls. They're going to open it up, I guess. I think what's the limit right now? Is it 2,500 cars?
I don't know what the formal limit is, but I have to laugh because, I tweeted out that their earlier announcement was like moving at warp speed for a government bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And Rohan responded, he said, you know what you're talking about. This was done in the dying days of the Biden administration. It was Biden had, the Biden department had it all planned, which is so amusing because when you think about the Biden plan for rural internet, that plan took 4 years to come to 3 years to come to fruition, and nothing came to fruition. And they had similar reports out every couple of every 6 months or 8 months or so on. So yeah, I think this is moving at warp speed for a bureaucracy. I really I think the political friction is behind us. I don't think it's going to affect this administration very much. I think this administration is extraordinarily focused on government on government excellence, and it's really hard to impose that on 2 million people. That's the amount of people roughly that work directly for the U.S. government. Doesn't include contractors, which is probably another 10 million. But it really does speak to this change of attitude, this change of expectation, and so time will tell. But I'm very, very hopeful that this will mean that all autonomous vehicle manufacturers can move as quickly as their safety practices will allow. And that's important. Their safety practices are terribly important. So what we can't afford is many really serious incidences. There will be serious incidences. We just can't afford a multitude of them. And by the way, there will be many incidences that are not serious, that are not Tesla, that have nothing to do with FSD, that the press will treat as serious Tesla FSD instances. So we have to gear up and be ready for that. It's going to happen. There's no doubt at all. It could even happen on Saturday. And so there you are. I still don't know that it's going to happen on Saturday. It's definitely moving forward. All the signs are that it's moving forward, but I have no idea which day it is. And I'm not sure anybody on this call has. So we'll see. But I'm very excited, and it is a really, really important moment. And, as I tweeted out, it's a moment that will that will transform the value of everybody's ownership of Tesla overnight. It will be the biggest single increase, as Elon has said time and time again, in asset value, in virtually in history. So pretty important moment coming.
Let's talk more about that. That's coming battle with the media. Of course, we already had Dan O'Dowd come out and already, publishing FUD that was published on Austin TV. But before we get there, I just want to ask this question to the panel here. NHTSA, right, government entity, releases this framework, or will be. They're saying that they're going to take steps on it. But this is for vehicles that don't have driver controls. And so it seems like it's really targeted or helping Tesla, because who else? Who else is going to make more than 2,500 vehicles without driver controls? The only one I can think of is Zoox. I mean, who else will this benefit?
I don't see anybody that being benefited by it. But I'm intrigued in Omar's experience in New York. I mean, I don't know if he's posted the video yet. I saw his tweet earlier today about the experience, but I'd love him to talk about it, because that would be, a huge issue if we're able to roll out New York.
Yeah, I mean, there's no self-driving cars here in New York today, no driverless vehicles, but there should be a video coming out. Maybe it just went out from Jordan Kamina, where we drove an hour through Manhattan and Brooklyn and had 0 takeovers. So, there's definitely a lot more challenging driving scenarios here than other places. But based on what we're seeing with the existing 1329, I think they're going to be able to handle New York City and really any city in this country. It really is pretty amazing to watch. So I would definitely recommend everyone check out Jordan's video when he posts it.
Did it drive like a New Yorker? Did it drive differently than California?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it drives
Really?
like it's been living here its whole life. It's pretty amazing. Even maybe better than some of the other drivers in New York.
No, literally, you actually saw a difference in the way it drives in New York versus California.
I mean, I don't know if I would say there was a difference in the way it drives, but the city is different. So the things you have to do are different here, and
Herbert,
it adapted to the city.
It didn't stick its finger out the window at anybody.
Well, the example I give is that in I live in Seattle, Washington, right? And so it's always this, no, it's your turn. No, it's your turn. And then if there's a pedestrian, it's always the pedestrian's right. And they'll scream at you if you as a car even, make any little move that is dangerous. In New York, it's complete opposite. I was in New York and my colleague was stepped 1 foot off of the sidewalk, and the cars driving by screamed at him, "You friggin' get off the curb!" And they just roll right through it, right?
Homer, does the car honk its horn at annoying people differently than it does in California?
It doesn't honk its horn yet, but actually Waymo can honk its horn at people sometimes. So I imagine the Tesla Robotaxi will have that capability as well.
Okay. And what about the coming battle with the media? And we already had, Austin TV share a video of that was released by the Dawn Project. It's absolutely stupid project, because they threw these mannequins of children in front of a car that was driving like literally like a microsecond before the car, could even see it at all.
Wait, I wanted to ask about that because I hear people talking about that. And I thought the issue was that it didn't stop for the stop school bus, and I thought that was a solved problem with FSD. That it was a problem in the past that it didn't stop for stop school buses. I thought that had been fixed and it was stopping for stop school buses now. So am I correct that the real issue is that it didn't stop for a stop school bus? What's going on there?
Well, Dan O'Dowd obviously, I think, needs a new hobby now that FSD is going unsupervised. And I mean, this guy has been a menace to the child dummy industry. He is probably the #1 customer of child dummies, and he has, he's like the Grinch for child dummies. So, this guy ran a full page ad in the New York Times many years ago, and he said, FSD will kill millions of people. All these kids will be run over. Yet for some reason, only these child dummies get run over, and no one can actually find a single instance of a kid actually getting run over in real life. So I think that speaks volumes. In the beginning, he used to have the child dummy in the road. Now, if he tried that, FSD 13 would handle it. So he's got to pull it on this sled and, pull it right in front of the car to get that viral video clip. But I mean, the question really is, how does it compare to human performance? given the same obstacles, how many times does the AI hit the object? And how many times does the car hit the object? And I think what you're going to find is that even today, the car does that less often than a human. A human is probably more likely to hit that child dummy if you pull it out than the AI in the car. And the AI is really designed to detect people, detect the motion of walking. Pulling a piece of trash in front of the car is not something that it's going to be recognizing as a person. As a matter of fact, the AI is smart enough to know that it isn't a real human being. It's just a piece of fabric.
But does FSD stop for stop school buses now? Does version 13 stop for stop school buses?
So the answer to your question, Warren, as long as there's a visual stop sign, like the school buses put out a stop sign when they stop, or put up a stop sign on their back, on their rear end, then the car will stop. But if it doesn't see a stop sign on a stopped school bus, it doesn't recognize it, that it has to stop, because when a school bus is traveling down the road, it doesn't stop because there's no stop sign. So it has to actually see the red lights, and then it has to actually see the physical stop sign. And that may or may not be an issue. I've not had an issue since version 13, but I do see that it really stops for the perceived stop sign and not for any other, not because it recognizes a school bus as a school bus.
Yeah, so the Tesla Robotaxi service that's going to be launching in Austin this weekend is going to do everything that it needs to do. It's going to stop for school buses. It's going to handle ambulances, even by audio. This is obviously a new version of the software that's running in Austin. So saying that, even if someone says, well, I have some issue in 13.2, this is a model that was trained last year in November, 7 months ago. For hardware 3, that model was trained even earlier. So none of us have really seen what this new model is going to be capable of yet, but everything it needs to do, including handling school buses with a stop sign, it can do.
Alexandra?
Can I ask a stupid question, just because you all know that I'm the last one to jump on the FSD train, and while very motivated, I'm still a boomer mama, right? So I'm using it, and twice I'm on hardware AI 4 now with the new Model Y, and I'm using it, and twice I came into a situation where they closed the road in Santa Barbara at a spot that wasn't closed yesterday just because they're doing road work. So the car tries to engage in that road, sees the closed road sign, and then is stuck. Doesn't turn around in the other direction, doesn't do anything. So I manually put the blinker so that it knows it has to turn. It turns, and then it drives around the drives around the block to arrive at exactly the same spot again, instead of calculating a new route to get to destination. So I'm asking myself, if I'm making anything wrong, is there a setting I have to change, or is this just something that still needs to be worked on?
No, they're just emulating Waymo's behavior.
Well, Alexander, do you have the destination? Do you have the destination in the map?
Sure, I have destination being home. So this morning it happened. I ran an errand, and from the last spot wanted to go home, completely mapped out the way it should have gone. And then 3 roads later was this closed road incident. Drove around the block, got stuck there again. I was like, why are you driving around the road? Because you really have to then do a different road to get home. And I had to manually drive for 3-4 blocks until it realized that, we're now taking a new road. It wouldn't have done it by himself.
Well, that sounds like pretty typical behavior for FSD. I don't think you're doing anything wrong. So, sometimes the existing model that runs on our car can divert around road close signs, but sometimes if it can't find a better route to the destination, it will do things like that. In the case of the Austin Robotaxi, you not only have a better model that's smarter, but there's going to be a lot more mapping in the sense that the car is not going to go anywhere where they don't know that it works and where there's a low rate of interventions. It nails it every time, right? Any situation that's challenging, they just close off the street the same way Waymo does, and the car's routing system just won't try and take that route ever. So if, for example, a car was driving and it saw a road closed sign and they, the car's AI wanted to drive through it for whatever reason, hopefully the model would be smart enough to know not to do that, but they could just go in, mark it as closed, and then all the cars in the fleet know not to try and take that road until they remove the block or one of the other cars sees that the construction is over or whatever.
Do you guys think that Tesla will eventually get their own maps instead of relying on third-party maps?
They have a pretty extensive mapping system that they're building from a bunch of different sources, including telemetry from their vehicles. So long term, I think really all of the map data is going to be collected directly from the fleet and updated in real time. And they're starting to move towards that piece by piece. You're seeing, for example, them send up data on road roughness, traffic, other kinds of information, construction, road closures. And you can actually see that information on the Tesla map. That's all preparation for the eventual deployment of the Tesla network.
Yeah, didn't Elon say that that the car? I don't know. I don't think he used the word memory, but if it sees something, it'll register it, and other cars, other Teslas will be told that there's something there. So your road closure, Alexandra, other Teslas would know it as well.
I think there's a huge opportunity for a Tesla mapping app that integrates Grok's local knowledge. I think that I love Google Maps. I use Google Maps a lot, but I think being in a place, I'm in Krabi, Thailand, which you guys probably never heard of Krabi. There's a lot of businesses that don't have reviews that you don't know that much about, and if you had an AI that was able to get a better understanding of local information and not hallucinate, which is a challenge, than having an AI-enabled mapping app that is constantly refreshed by Tesla cars driving by with their cameras, updating things, that Tesla drivers would be able to, favorite, write a review in the car or tell Grok, here's my review of this restaurant I just ate. And I think there's a lot of potential for a significant improvement on what Google Maps does.
When is Grok going to show up? Green Day only posted just recently that there's another sign that Grok is in the software code and it's going to have different personalities that you can choose from. I think we've been waiting for this for a long time. Elon just posted a couple days ago that he thinks Grok 3.5 is going to be the smartest AI in the world. He's confident that that will be the case, and they're working on it. But we've been waiting for this for a long time. But there's these signs it's coming. What do you guys know about it?
Yeah, I mean, we can see this in the vehicle firmware now. So that's got to mean it's pretty close to actually shipping on our cars. So I would expect that to come in a software update sometime in the next few months. I'm really looking forward to it, especially with FSD and not being able to use my phone. I mean, hopefully we don't have that for that much longer, but while it is FSD supervised, it's really nice, I think, to be able to talk to Grok, to have access to real-time information. I can ask him, hey, what has Herbert posted lately? Any posts about this? Any news about this? And all those different personality modes that you see in the Grok app are going to be in the car too. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun, honestly, and provide a lot of entertainment in the car and just be genuinely useful. I mean, the most powerful, or at least one of the most powerful AI models in the world, built right into your car. The car is already like a robot that can walk you around and take you places. Now you're going to be able to talk to it too. And hopefully they'll actually integrate functions of the Tesla vehicle into Grok. So I can ask it to, for example, change my climate or turn on the seat heaters or seat coolers or change the navigation destination. And if it could do that, that would be pretty amazing.
Do you think Robotaxi is launching with it or without it? Does it need it for Robotaxi?
That's a good question. I think it would be really cool to have it, if you could answer people's questions, if you could set settings and change things and explain things with a natural language interface. I think it would be great to have in the Robotaxi and actually differentiate it from Waymo, where you don't have that kind of LLM built in, though I'm sure they could build their Gemini system in pretty easily.
But you can speak to an agent, right?
You can speak to a human agent, especially if something goes wrong, they'll call you. But an LLM you can just talk to about, basic information about the city and where you're going and, just whatever you want isn't really in there. So I think it would be a great pairing. I think people do want to talk to their robotaxis.
What's the personality though?
Unhinged mode for me always.
You don't want your Robotaxi to be unhinged, dude. You will get tired of that quickly. That's the whole point of not going on Ubers these days. You never know what your driver's going to be like.
I got to say, I have conversations with Grok a lot, and it would be really cool to be able to press the microphone button in the car and, ask Grok about something. Like my wife asked me about some concept in English, or what's this new story, and she speaks English, but it would be really cool to say, "Hey, Grok, can you explain this to my wife in Thai language, or can you tell the kids in the back seat make up a children's story and read it to my kids and my nephews and my nieces in the back seat?" Like, I think there's so much you could do with, having Grok accessible by the voice button in the car.
I don't know if you saw that, Warren, but one of the personalities that are in-car Grok, so in-car Grok also got new language tutor personality. So
That's fantastic.
Yeah, while you're in the car, you can go, I want the language
I can get
tutor.
Thai lessons while I'm driving.
Are you really learning? Yeah, guess you are.
Yeah, 100%.
Nice.
I go to restaurants. I only speak Thai in restaurants to the staff.
Well, you speak Japanese, so yeah, this is you. You like it. I think bigger than all these news so far, the big one that shocked me the most, I guess, is the China news. China has allowed the exporting of vehicle-related data outside of their country to, in this case, the U.S. Right? So Tesla can now take certain data that they were very concerned about. Of course, you should be allowing Tesla to take that and give it, I guess, send it up to their supercomputers in the US so they can train FSD. This is going to be huge for Tesla. But again, Chinese authorities are kind of shocking you because the US is not going to, there's no, they don't let you do the opposite. Yeah, this is a big deal, right? Who can speak to that? I know you can, Omar. Can you speak to how important that is, Larry?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a huge deal. So FSD launched in China earlier this year, and what was actually amazing is how Chinese users said that it actually beat some of the best systems in China. Even the Huawei system with LiDAR and radar and ultrasonic and everything, it wasn't working as well as the Tesla. Even though the Tesla didn't have any Chinese local data, it was actually outperforming a lot of the local systems. So you can imagine with data from China, actually being able to take those learnings and apply it to the model that's being trained and not having to rely on hacks like using photos from the internet and simulated data. That's going to be huge. It's going to make FSD work a lot better. Now, I'm hearing from FSD users in China that yes, the model's very impressive. It's good at understanding its space, of knowing where to go, not hitting any cars, but they're seeing navigational issues. They're seeing some lane selection issues. They're sometimes seeing it violate some local traffic laws. So that data is really going to be key in bridging the gap between Chinese FSD and US FSD in terms of road rules, in terms of navigation, in terms of things like that. And the other thing that's really important that a lot of people probably don't appreciate is that Chinese data will actually make the model drive better in the United States too. It's actually going to make it drive better in Europe too. All the data from all over the world actually helps it generalize, sort of the basic principles of driving in a way that is pretty powerful.
Can you say, if you're in California, I want you to drive like a New Yorker. I want you to drive like a car in Shanghai. They won't let you. Hopefully they don't. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.